Lost media is defined as any piece of media thought to no longer exist in any format or for which no copies can be located. Most people tend to talk about lost movies, songs, or shows, but what I find to be an underappreciated form of lost media is video game lost media. In this video, I'll be going over some interesting examples of video game lost media, and I'm sure you've played at least a couple of these games. Make sure to drop a comment below telling me which lost games you'd like me to cover next, and a like and sub would be very appreciated. But without further ado, let's get into it. Subnautica has to be one of my favorite games ever, and as it turns out, it had a pretty long developmental stage with many versions becoming lost over its lifespan. Subnautica fully released in 2018, but development for the game actually began in 2014. The earliest version of Subnautica that you can currently access on Steam is called the Earliest Access, and it's from early 2014, but there were actually 7 builds of the game that predate this quote-unquote earliest version. They were called the prototype builds, and they were only given to people who had purchased Subnautica Special Edition on Humble Bundle. So it's safe to say that these builds were obscure for quite a while. These builds of the game are in fact so old that the game wasn't even called Subnautica at this point. It was called Descend. And it wasn't until the 4th prototype when the game actually became called Subnautica. You can just see how basic the game was in the first prototype. The main idea for the game is there, but it looks nothing like the Subnautica that we have today. What's interesting is that there are only 7 prototype versions found, even though the prototypes go up to number 8. This is because Prototype 7 is completely missing, and it is still lost to this day, with even the developers confirming that Prototype 7 was quote-unquote lost at sea. The rest of the prototype builds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8, were all found by a person who had purchased the special edition at the time, and were archived in 2023. Still, it's super interesting to see the idea for Subnautica initially forming, and maybe one day Prototype 7 will come to light and finally be found. If you've played Minecraft at all in the past decade, then you've definitely heard about Herobrine. It's safe to say that while never officially in the game, Herobrine as a character has left a massive impact on the Minecraft community, ranging from pranks to creepypastas and even to Mojang themselves being in on a joke. Now, many of you may wonder where Herobrine actually came from and how it became such a core part of Minecraft despite never actually being in the game. While the idea of Herobrine existed in the very early days of Minecraft, the thing that popularized Herobrine the most was a live stream from a user by the name of Copeland. It was in mid-2010 when Copeland photoshopped an image of Herobrine at his Minecraft base. This image got the attention of a lot of users, especially on a website called 4chan. Seeing the popularity of the image, Copeland decided that he would need to do something even bigger. And in August of 2010, Copeland began meticulously planning a live stream in which he would have Herobrine appear. The live stream would go on for 2 entire hours completely normally as to avoid any suspicion from viewers. But at the very end of the stream, Copeland would have Herobrine appear, and once he did, he would be so scared that he would have to end the stream. And that's exactly what he did. He actually changed one of the painting's textures in the game to look like Herobrine and placed it inside a room that he would avoid for the entirety of the live stream until the very end. And once he did this, it got the attention of a lot of people. And it was the event that many people consider to be the reason why Herobrine is so popular today. You see, at the time, Copeland was a pretty popular Minecraft streamer, so one would assume that this live stream would still be available to this day. But the live stream ended up not being archived and was lost for over 14 years until a YouTuber by the name of Blame It on Jorge made a video about the live stream. You see, many people remember the live stream and actually went as far as making recreations of how they remember the live stream in order to help find it. And one of the people who saw Blame It on Jorge's video actually had archived the entire live stream. And they had it uploaded to their YouTube channel for all of these years, except it was on private. And so when they did see Blame It on Jorge's video, they unprivated it, marking the live stream fully found.
Don't you guys? Him! He is him!
I've talked a lot about Talking Tom and Outfit 7, the creators of Talking Tom, on this channel, but to me, my favorite piece of Talking Tom lost media was the Talking Tom and Ben News Pepsi collab. If you've ever played any of the Talking Tom games, then you're probably familiar with Talking Tom and Ben News. It was just like the other entries in the Talking Tom franchise, except it was Talking Tom and Ben working at a news station. This is probably how you remember the game looking, if you remember playing it. But one day, one of my viewers alerted me about a channel on YouTube called MK Outfit 7. This channel made use of the screen recording features that all of the talking games came with. This feature would allow you to screen record the game and upload it to your preferred platform straight from the app. This channel had a lot of uploads and most of them seemed quite ordinary, but there were a couple that caught my eye. You see, there are a couple of Talking Tom, Ben and News videos on their page that feature what seems to be a completely different version of the game that was never released to the public. This game featured a different background with a Pepsi logo and some Chinese text. Upon translating this Chinese text, we can see that it translates to Pepsi Food Paradise, drink Pepsi, enjoy delicious food. We now know that Pepsi Food Paradise was an ad campaign that ran only in China around 2012. And they decided to use one of the most popular mobile game franchises at the time, which was the Talking Friends franchise. And as you can see on screen, this collab really existed and there's actually a lot of evidence for it. But even though we know that this collab did actually exist at one point in time, we haven't been able to find any useful information about the game itself to this day. Even until now, neither the APK file or the IPA file for this version of the game has been found. This leads many to believe that MK Outfit 7, the poster of these videos, may have been an employee at Outfit 7, explaining why they had this copy of the game that was unavailable everywhere else. I think this would be an awesome thing to find because it's a really obscure collab between two massive companies. Nonetheless, I really hope this version of the game does get found, and if you know anything about this version, then let me know in the comments down below. Our next entry is more on the unique side. This is Crash Landed, a cancelled Crash Bandicoot game. The game was being developed for the PlayStation 3, Wii, Xbox 360, and Nintendo DS. It follows the story of a mutated Crash Bandicoot who needed to rescue his fellow Bandicoots. The Wii, PlayStation 3, and Xbox 360 versions of the game were developed by a company called Radical Entertainment, while the DS version was developed by a company called Renegade Kid. Radical Entertainment secretly began to work on the new Crash game in 2009, working on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 versions with plans to port it to the Wii. But then suddenly, Activision decided to lay off the entire development team and cancel the game before it was ever revealed. But some images and concept arts along with gameplay videos were leaked onto the internet, in addition to a demo version of the DS version that was developed by Renegade Kid. What you're seeing right now is the demo gameplay, and it honestly went pretty far before it was cancelled. I have no idea why they decided to cancel it, especially so suddenly, because they already had all of the animations, music, sound effects, and it was super close to being complete. Another demo was also leaked called the Way Forward version, and as you can see, the gameplay on this one is much higher quality. This is because the actual game file for the demo was leaked, and so you can actually download it and run it on your own DS to play it for yourself. Not much is known about the Way Forward version and how it came to be, but it was probably just another iteration of the demo. I thought I would include this game in this video because cancelled game leaks are usually not this thorough, and it's also very unusual for the game files of the demo itself to be leaked. And since the DS version was leaked, who knows if the Xbox 360 or PS3 versions would also get leaked. But let me know what you guys thought about these lost games, and make sure to drop a like and a sub, and comment down below which lost games you'd like me to cover next. See ya!